Oh man, oh man, oh man. Just in the camera already. We're back, baby. The Geek Beach. I took some time off. There was a couple of reasons why I did that. Primary one being nothing to talk about last week. Another one being the week before that when we covered everything D23. I kind of had like a moment of just clarity where I was like, oh man, my computer almost broke. I didn't want to risk it again, so we took a week off. We're coming back stronger than ever, presumably. I thought this was going to be like a quick little episode, you know? I thought I was just going to be able to like talk about some movies I didn't have a chance to review on the channel. I thought we could talk about Andor, and I was like, oh, we're going to get in and out. I'll plug the thing I'm going to be doing for all of October. We'll be on with it. None of it will matter, really. We'll just get on, move over. It's all going to be great. That's all we're going to do. But then, moments before I set up the recording, moments before I came in here to be like, okay, I got to prep for today, what we're going to talk about and everything, I turned on the old Twitter feed. And the Twitter feed was erupted, just blowing up in this insanity that is the new Marvel movie. So we had D23 a couple weeks ago. And they announced like a slate that was coming for 2024. New World Order, the Captain America film, will be the first movie in 2024 from the Marvel Cinematic Universe, followed by Thunderbolts in July, I believe, and then Fantastic Four in November. They had a slot in September for an unknown movie. And I was like, okay, it's kind of weird you didn't announce that one yet. It's also kind of weird that Blade comes out next year around like 13 months from now, and you haven't really said anything about filming that movie. I'm sure it's very secretive, and that's going to be a weird one, but that's very weird to me. So we have a secret Marvel movie that's supposedly coming out September 2024, and everyone was speculating. Well, we finally got confirmation on what that movie is, and oh man, kind of took the internet by storm for a minute. So this unknown movie, turned out it was the fabled, the much talked about, the much anticipated third Deadpool film. And it's not just that, because Reynolds is a smart marketing guy. He went to the Dwayne Johnson school of, you're the social media outlet, you don't need to go to the convention. But I guess Dwayne Johnson did go to the convention for Comic-Con, but we do this. He posts a video on his thing. He's like, sorry, I couldn't make it to D23. I was too busy writing Deadpool 3 or something. Either way, the only idea we could come up with is realistically shoving Wolverine in there. So Hugh Jackman's here, and we're going to do a Deadpool and Wolverine movie. Yay! Hugh Jackman's back. And I was just immediately like, okay, I guess that could work. I don't think I was like excited to hear that. I don't hate it though. First off, these two guys are bros. Like, they're friends. So that doesn't bother me. When you want to work with your friends, you're either going to get something completely insane or completely well put together. So Jackman and Reynolds working together, that doesn't upset me. I get that. You know, that is just those two guys. They can come together, do their thing. Hunky-dory, everybody's spitting in the wind. We're all going to have fun. So that's fine. I don't really care about that. I'm sure Hugh's getting a big paycheck, and that'll probably be good for him, or else why would he really want to do this? I guess realistically, it's like you are the only thing people like of a certain era of those films, and coming back into that, I'm sure seeing the way Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield got the reception was a big leap for them. And a big leap for him to be like, oh, I can't do this. Patrick Stewart can do this. I'm not better than Patrick Stewart. I can come by for a movie. So it looks like it's going to be more than just a cameo, too. Like the way they're talking about it and the way like the actual logo shows the slashes and the Deadpool logo, it leads you to think it's going to be like a buddy movie. And there's a lot of that could work. First off, like, if this is like the official Hugh Jackman Wolverine, it's not going to be like the actual MCU one. I don't believe like Hugh would like commit to another 10 years of this. If this is going to be like the actual Wolverine of the MCU, I doubt it. But if this is just like a random guy, he's like, hey, Maybe it's like in between the time of the X-Men films. So it could be, I guess, what was the last one? Because Logan's the end. Logan is like slightly in the future. So this could be like a film to fill in the time between that to Logan. What was it, Dark Phoenix? But I guess the last one in continuity would be Days of Future Past. So it could be post Future Past, pre-Logan. He meets Deadpool. They have to save the Fox universe. And then it ultimately plays out the way it would in Logan. Or maybe he's like, you know what? I don't want to have a better movie. Or I don't want Logan to be a better movie than my movies. Hugh Jackman had to die. Well, I'm going to reverse Hugh Jackman's death in Logan, and I'm going to bring him back, and he's going to be the main continuity until he realizes, oh, this version of Logan doesn't work in this continuity. I don't know what it's going to be. I don't really... Again, I don't care what they do with this character. First off, whatever they decide they're going to do with Hugh Jackman, it's not going to take away from the performance he gave in Logan. Logan is his best performance to date. I know Real Steel's amazing, but Logan is just him like saying goodbye to the character in an emotional, mature setting, getting the chance to have that goodbye. That's what Logan is. So that will never be taken away from me. That's one of my favorite comic book adjacent films. It's one of those things I just really love. That's like a piece of genre fiction where I'm like, we need more things that emulate that. Why can't we do more things that try to be that? So that will always exist. I don't have any complaints if they do more stuff with the character. I don't care for Ryan Reynolds. I get a lot of flack for this, and I understand it. He's everyone's favorite little boy. You always see those jokes like he's like the one male celebrity every guy has a crush on. He's not. I don't find him funny. It's the same reason I can't really watch Joel McHale stuff anymore, because I don't think the age you are works for the jokes you are telling. The way you act, the way Joel McHale acts, works for Jeff Winger in 2009 when that show started. The way that Ryan Reynolds acts works for that character in Two Guys, a Girl, and a Pizza Place, back when he was a young man. You are 40-something now. The type of humor you have, it's funny and people like it. I personally don't enjoy it. And I've never been a fan of his acting career. I don't think he's on anything of interest. And the guy owns like a cell phone company, a gin company. He bought a soccer team. What are you trying to prove? That should be illegal. It should be illegal for a celebrity to own other things. It's weird, but I don't care. And his interpretation of Deadpool is something I like, I guess. I don't hate either of those movies, but it's that thing. I was reading comic books when I kind of like really first got into it. It was this Daniel Way run, and the people in my life who were also reading comics were like obsessed with Deadpool, and that was the run of Deadpool that I was the most known or most prominent to me, and I just couldn't stand it. I just didn't like how it was so successful to the specific people in my life, and it just affected the way I was enjoying the character and that story. So every time something Deadpool would happen, I just didn't care. Like, yeah, that's fine. I really liked the Kelly Thompson run, maybe because I'm a fan of Kelly Thompson and I like Elsa Bloodstone, which is the character that she wrote in that book. That might be it, because I'm not really a fan of Deadpool. You know, I really liked Uncanny X-Force, the Remender book, but again, I didn't like that because of Deadpool. He was just a good character in it. So this character means nothing to me. The actor playing Deadpool means nothing to me, and I already have the perfect conclusion to Hugh Jackman's Wolverine. So if they decide like, oh, we're going to do something entirely different, I'm for it. There's no reason to keep it the way it is, you know? Because what's the point? What other ground are we like touching upon unless we do something new? If we're just retreading the same grounds, or like going back to all the old movies where Hugh was the character, that's even lamer. This should be something new. It could be a multiversal Wolverine. I think we should just stick him in the costume. I think now we've reached that point where we will. I would love it if they just like VFX'd him to be shorter, and he actually was just like Hugh Jackman. He looked like Hugh Jackman, but he was the height of Wolverine should be. That'd be pretty cool. I doubt we'll do that though. But if we put him in the costume, that's a good start to something. It doesn't even have to be the whole time. If we just put him in yellow and maybe blue, maybe the brown and yellow suit, that beautiful custardy, mustardy color, that's the one I want to see more than any of them. I'd be fine with that. Hell, the mask even. Hell, if he has the actual sideburns, not like his weird like thing down here, give me the huge chops like right here, bushed out, hair up, comic accurate. It could be the 90s one too, because X-Men 97's a big deal. Maybe that's the Wolverine we're going to see. All I know is you won the internet. You know, say what you will about the content that Disney's putting out. I know I don't love it. I haven't liked a Disney film. What was the last Disney film I wholeheartedly loved? That is a great question. Encanto is great, but that doesn't count. And Turning Red, those don't count though, because those aren't like live action. I'm trying to think live action. I don't know. Tron Legacy? Would it be that long ago? There's got to be something before Tron Legacy that I really loved from that company. I can't think of it though. So, I mean, say what you will about the shitty movies they make. They know how to get their team to market stuff properly. And that's impressive. Like, Reynolds doesn't have to do any work. He can just sit in front of a camera, make a joke about, man, it's hard writing. Look how hard it is to write. I own a soccer team. I can't write anything. And then have Hugh Jackman walk in the background and just jokingly go, yeah, okay, I'll do it. Yeah, that's all you have to do. They don't have to try anymore. And it's working for them in a lot of ways. Personally, I'd expect a little more. I think that could be, try a little harder. I know you own a soccer team, Ryan. You could try a little harder, but whatever. I don't know. Like this, it just doesn't excite me, if that makes sense. I'm not like jumping out of my seat like, oh, finally, Deadpool and Wolverine on the silver screen together doing some great stuff. That doesn't make me feel anything. All I feel is, yeah, okay. Makes sense they do that because money is important. And again, it's that thing I've kind of been talking about forever with Disney in particular and Marvel in particular. And a lot of these companies, they want to find like this cinematic experience, like this big screen, like a reason to leave your house to go to the theater. And here's what I'm going to say to that. More people are going to the theater now more than ever. Streaming is dying, and we're going to see it collapse within the next 10 years. You're not losing the cinematic experience. The best cinematic experiences I have had of late are when I'm utterly shocked by a film. Barbarian, Pearl, we'll talk about that one later. And, Top Gun Maverick surprised me. Those types of films are the ones that have the best cinematic experience. They're also the ones that don't have superheroes connected to them because that doesn't feel cinematic anymore. It feels like a chore. And that might just be me talking, but having to slog my way through Miss Marvel, Thor Love and Thunder, and She-Hulk just to understand what's going to be happening in Captain America 4, that's tiresome to me. And I feel like this is the exact same thing where it's like you're playing into your fans' hands so much that it almost feels desperate enough to sound like you don't have an original idea. Now, I'm not criticizing them for doing this because I get it. You made $1 billion and some dollars when Toby and Andrew stepped out of screen. Your theaters erupted into chaos. I get it. I'm not complaining about that. I don't think that's wrong. I just feel like it becomes too much of your standard now that it doesn't feel like a real thing. The only time I genuinely liked what they did to twist that expectation was Evan Peters in WandaVision. Where it's like, we're going to put him in a silly little Quicksilver costume. You outside of the world know that this guy did play Quicksilver in a different franchise, but boom, he's just a guy named Boner. That's funny. I think that's a good use of that. When Toby and Andrew walk out on screen, I'm like, okay, that's clearly not for me, because I am not fueled by nostalgia. I'm not. I like nostalgic things, and I look back on things fondly. Like the other day, I was just thinking about Bionicles, and I'm like, damn, I should go buy some Bionicles. Do they have Bionicles? No. I love nostalgia. But my driving force towards enjoying a piece of entertainment is not the idea that I'm going to remember something or find the callback interesting. It's kind of why Indiana Jones 5 excites me, because I don't think that's what that's going to be. It's not going to be like, oh man, we have to do the snake scene again. Oh man, we have to like have all these characters like Ravenwood show up. I don't think that's what it's going to be. That's exciting. And that's also Mangold, who did Logan. He knows how to do that kind of genre stuff. And then, Doctor Strange, another thing too. Patrick Stewart's back. You just kill him off. It's a good subversion of that idea. But you can't just bring Hugh back to kill him off. You can't. He is Wolverine. And I have been talking about for a while now, doing like an entire video dedicated to why the culture loves Wolverine so much. I want to get like a guest on and we'll like dive into an exploration of the Wolverine character and why he is so cool, why people love him. That's for a later day. But Hugh Jackman, I think, is a big part of that, where people are like, oh man, you got a really hunky, cool actor to play this, and it's working. And I don't know. It just doesn't interest me. I like Hugh Jackman. I would have loved to see The Music Man if it was touring near me. That would be a fun experience to have. But I don't feel anything else towards him in any other way or regard. I don't know. Again, I'm cynical about this stuff now. I've been burned out, and I know some people, they say they're not burned out, but we should all be a little burned out by the amount of movies we have. Just think of 2024 when every other DC film and every other Marvel film comes out. The only saving grace, it's not even a saving grace, is that Netflix was like, actually, we're not going to do Grendel, so that's one less to worry about. And then Titans and Stargirl are doing a crossover. It's like, slow down. I don't like this content anymore. It's exhausting. It is so exhausting. And that's the problem. That just becomes exhausting. The other thing that this makes me think, and again, this isn't a criticism, but this is just something I think about. It just means we're going to be further away from an actual new actor playing the Wolverine role. Now, I think the thing is like, they must have like a different licensing thing when it comes to Wolverine, because the other X-Men characters, they can't put them in a movie and use that property until 2025 because all the other actors are still under contract. I guess it must be different for Hugh Jackman because his contract ran out with Logan. So I'm guessing he can sign on to do one more in that character and everything would be okay. But if that's the case and it's successful and it makes $1 billion, and suddenly Reynolds and Jackman are like, we could do another one of these and make a proper X-Force film. Suddenly we don't get a new actor playing Wolverine. Suddenly it sucks. And I liked Hugh Jackman's Wolverine. I watched all those movies more than twice. I like him in that role. I want someone else to do it. It's not because I'm tired of him, but the dude's like 50-something. I want to see like a young, scrappy Wolverine more accurately portrayed to his material. And I haven't stopped thinking about the news from WB about Keanu Reeves returning to the world of Constantine. I haven't stopped thinking about it. Ever since that announcement, one thing has been on my mind, and that is, oh shit, we're not seeing any new characters made, are we? We're not. If a character has been made in the past few years, we're not going to see anybody new play that role. Is that really where we're going with this? Keanu Reeves is not a good actor. Keanu Reeves was a bad Constantine, and that Constantine movie was bad. Why wouldn't we try harder with something better? Why settle on that? Because, it's going to get butts in seats because people know Constantine. There's already a movie that you can prop up and show, like, it's the original. Now it's the redone. It's like, ugh. It exhausts me to no end. And that's how I feel about this. When I hear Hugh Jackman is coming back, all I can think of is, okay, I guess you're really not aiming stuff for me anymore. And that's fine. You don't have to aim it for me. I'm not the movie fan that wants to go see Avengers Kang Dynasty opening night anymore. That's not who I am. They just announced that Black Panther Wakanda Forever is 2 hours and 41 minutes, and my first thought was, fuck. Really? You have to do this to me? You just did the one that was under 2 hours, made a lot of money, nobody liked it, and now you're like, longer movies again. Oh, man. So, I'm just burned out by Marvel, apparently. And that's fun because this year, we still have Black Adam to get through, and I've been putting this theory together for a while now, and something I've been kind of clinging on to, just kind of like personally, is in the last half of this year, we're going to have Black Adam and we're going to have Wakanda Forever. Probably the dumbest movie that's going to be based in the superhero world of today's audiences and the best one. Good way to bookend my excitement for these properties now. Black Adam looks dumb and stupid, and I think they're going to be a weird movie. And then Wakanda Forever is probably going to be a godsend to cinema. I'm like, that's it. After that, I don't think I have any juice left in me to really care about this stuff on that scale. So when it's like Jackman's back for Deadpool 3, I'm like, yes, he is. Why wouldn't he be? He's probably making $20 million. And he's probably got a stake in Wexham now. And you're like, oh, okay, that's fantastic. So glad we can do that. It's all so exhausting. But whatever. Like, they're going to make it for the ends of time. None of this really... My enjoyment doesn't, like, affect any of this. You know, I'm just a tired old man, and it doesn't bother me. It doesn't bother anything. I guess Werewolf by Night is coming out soon, too. That's going to be cool. The positive buzz for Werewolf by Night is kind of exciting. Like, you hear people like, it's actually a horror thing. I'm like, oh, good. They actually try to stick to their genre. You know, the thing they teased Moon Knight to be, and then Moon Knight wasn't actually that. Cool. They actually did something shocking there. That's impressive. So, good for that. Do I have any other thoughts on this? I had something I wanted to say, but it slipped my mind, so it must not have been that important. All I want to say is, to those of you who are excited for Hugh Jackman returning as Wolverine, I commend you. You're going to get what you want no matter what. You know, eventually, it's all coming back. Don't be surprised if you know, Gandalf appears in the Lord of the Rings show. Don't be surprised if we get anybody back in any of this stuff. Everyone's coming back. Nothing is sacred. And I don't say nothing is sacred like, oh man, they're ruining stuff with this like agenda or just like nostalgia, but wouldn't it be better if we didn't just like try to just sell out? You know, because it does feel like you're selling out a little bit where you're like, well, I guess I could come back for one more when they pay me more money and my best friend's a part of it and we don't have to work hard. Here's the other thought I did have though. Twitter, when they were talking about all this crap, Krasinski was like, wait, is this mine? I was like, hey, am I releasing a movie in 2024 from the Marvel umbrella? And I'm like, are you doing it or not? Are you doing Fantastic Four or not? You're not directing. They just said Shankman's directing. Are you Reed or not? It's very annoying. I don't think he is. Sean Levy's doing Deadpool 3. Maybe Krasinski's doing like a special. Maybe he's Nova. Maybe he's Nova. Maybe he's Cyclops. Ooh, everyone's saying he should be Reed, but Krasinski looks like a Cyclops, like a really punchable, big-jawed face. Yeah. We done? Is that it? I thought I had another thought, but I guess not. Deadpool 3. If I'm still doing this, then I'll talk about it more. Now, we'll do a bunch of Wolverine talk coming up to the movie, probably. I think I was doing this when Deadpool 2 came out, so I did a review back then. I was very positive, but the more I look back on the film, like, was I positive or just drunk when I went to see it? I can't remember. Probably a little of both. It's not a bad film, but I don't remember a single thing from it. Now, that was just... I didn't even plan on talking about this today. What I was going to talk about is all this other stuff that we're going to get into again, because, once again, WB, man, they are just losing the battle. They have a class action lawsuit against them today. Did you guys see this? I am blown away by this news. Like you cannot think the WB Discovery stuff is going to get worse, but then it does. It turns out Warner Brothers was lying about their streaming numbers on HBO Max in like the tens of millions. And they were lying to the investors in the company. And now there's a class action lawsuit against WB. And you're like, what is happening? How could this get worse? That is just amazing. It's so sad to hear, because you're like, how is this legacy company messing up so bad? Oh, you live for it, though. You know, you live to hear stuff like that happen. Just complete and utter buffoonery falling down everywhere at this company. Don't be surprised if this company's liquidated and just shoved into the corner. You get the sense that Zaslav is just cutting every corner and bleeding the company dry so we can sell off assets to here and there. Because what else are they doing, man? What else are they really doing? Oh, it's so insane. But that wasn't even what I wanted to talk about. I just had to bring that up because I'm like, how much more can this company do to ruin its own reputation? I don't get that. It's so insane to me. What I want to talk about was this. In the thumbnail, if you're watching this on YouTube, is Mooncake. And Mooncake is one of the characters from a beloved, I think it's beloved, cartoon called Final Space. And it was revealed a couple days ago that the creator Ulan Rogers got the notice from WB that Final Space will be one of these shows written off for the tax write-off. That sucks. Now, here's the thing about that. They're not going to be streaming it anywhere else. It'll be removed from Netflix, and HBO Max will be removed from everything. No more physical prints will be made, so there's only physical copies in DVD form for the first 2 seasons, which means after this, there'll be no way to get your grubby little hands on the 3rd season of Final Space. This man, who has been very passionate about the struggle and hard work he put into getting this project made, Ulan has talked openly like this was hard to do. It's amazing we got the 3rd season. I tried desperately for more seasons. It didn't work. I tried to get comic books made and the story finished somewhere. It didn't work. And now all of his hard work, all of his dedication, all of his time and precious time, is just going to be stripped away because a $1 billion company, are they a $1 billion company anymore? Who's to say? Because this stupid freaking company no longer wants to pay royalties. I hate this so much. And again, we are in the era of 2022. We should not be having lost media. We shouldn't. And I know it's on the pirate sites. I hate to advocate for those sites, but get them there. Maybe, download it on your computer, put it on a DVD, sell it at conventions, get Final Space out there. That'd be nice to see. I doubt that would ever happen in that capacity. I hate this so much. And again, because I watched all of Final Space, I love that show. It was very enjoyable. The animation was so better than it had any right to be. It was so smooth and crisp, and the characters were so well executed, and there was such this visionary story about it. To see that this just is leaving our cultural zeitgeist forever. It sucks. This shouldn't be happening. Why is this happening? I hate this. And as somebody who has spent enough time pitching and submitting stories and pilots to these studios and these agencies and everything, you're like, why would you want to give this to any company? If you are an up-and-coming creator, why would you ever want to give anything to Warner Brothers now? Why would you want to do that? And the other thing, kind of on the other side of this, is Hemlock Grove is leaving Netflix, one of their first original series. I remember watching the first couple episodes of that show. Wasn't for me, but I saw it. They're deleting it from the services. Did that ever get a DVD release? I'm sure it did, because back in the day, Netflix was still synonymous with DVDs. But they're leaving. And you have to imagine that's brutal. And I don't know if anybody still watches that show. Obviously they don't, because it's just taking up the infinite space that is the Netflix queue. I hate it so much. I hate that has to leave, and everyone is just preaching the hell out of this Dahmer bullshit. These 2 shows, and I didn't really like Hemlock Grove. I really liked Final Space. These 2 shows are important, and they matter, and we shouldn't just be getting rid of them. And I've been saying it literally since Batgirl. I have been saying this is the calm before the storm. Just you wait until a couple fiscal quarters from now, when Netflix realizes half of our content is not getting the numbers it needs. We're chucking it in the bin. We're chucking it I'm sure there are some obscure shows you haven't thought about in years, but you like them and you're glad they exist. They won't be there in a couple years. This sucks. This sucks. I'm so sad for everybody involved in those productions, but it also makes me happy for something like Abbott Elementary, which didn't become this streaming thing that is just solely put on streaming now. It went to an actual studio. It got 22 episodes this season. It's finding its footing. That is so much more exciting than just seeing this stuff fall flat. So Ulan, you are a talented man. You created a brilliant show with great animation, great characters. You deserve better than this. And I hope you find a new home that you can call your own. Maybe Disney, maybe Hulu, maybe any of that stuff that's eager to have your stories told, because I want you to get more than what you were given from TBS. I hope you find footing. I'm going to actively seek out physical copies of Final Space, and I'm going to cherish those with my life. This sucks. We are in the worst era for media, because everything is just these big blockbusters, or it's getting deleted. And I just remember there was this other thing. This was what I want to talk about earlier. I remember I'm just losing. I'm just so excited to talk about stuff I'm eager about. The new episode of Blank Check, which is a podcast I listen to, David Sims and Griffin Newman, they talk about, directors and blank checks. Griffin made this like statement which I really liked, and he was talking about like the entire pop culture landscape is like directed exactly for what I want, and I'm tired of it. And I'm like, that is accurate. The fact that every single thing is targeted to like everything I've ever wanted on film, and I'm sick of seeing it. That's exactly how I feel too about all this stuff. And now it's like the things I want to see are getting deleted, because do you think they're going to delete the old Marvel stuff that nobody's watching? No, they're going to delete Final Space and Hemlock Grove. Two shows that I don't say have more right to exist than the Marvel stuff, but should exist alongside that so there's more variety in your content. Because those things aren't attached to major IPs, I'm sure they were easily on the chopping block for these companies. But I bet you nobody saw anything at Warner Bros. Because they fudged the numbers for HBO Max. I can't believe that. Like, it's going to blow my mind forever that this company, how big is HBO Max then? I know it's got like the best user rate, and like the consumers are like, we love HBO Max. This site's awesome. Is it like 100 people actually subscribe to it? Because it's not available in Canada. We get stuff through HBO. That's how we watch things here. We don't actually have like an HBO app, or HBO Max app, I should say. So it's kind of weird. But yeah, it's like they fudge the numbers. That is insane. Like Warner Brothers, what are you doing? You're losing it, man. You're losing it. I guess we could talk a little bit about House of the Dragon that came out this week. This was the first time we did the time jump where Emma Darcy and Olivia Cooke take over the roles of Rhaenyra Targaryen and Alicent Hightower. This episode is good, man. I'm very impressed with what House of the Dragon has been lately. Just really smooth stuff. And again, these numbers keep increasing. I just read that this latest episode went up 3% from last week, and that one was up from last week, and that one was up from last week. I guess people like Game of Thrones. Don't listen to me. I thought the hype died out. I sold all my Game of Thrones merch, actually, when like the show ended, because I'm like, yeah, nobody cares about this anymore. Turns out they do. And this episode was pretty good. Kind of all about like babies and stuff, where it's like, this baby doesn't look like this dad, and I'm like, yeah, that's accurate. That's literally, I guess, the inspiration behind the first season of Game of Thrones, because you would see, wait a minute, Joffrey and what are the other kids, Tommen and the girl Lannister baby from Cersei and Jaime, they don't look like Robert Baratheon, and then Ned finds out and he's dead. I guess that's what's happening here. Alicent's like, wait a minute. Your kids don't look like Valerian? Valerian? Yeah, like the super suave dude who's just like, hey, if we're leaving the tower, if like we're leaving King's Landing, can I take my boy toy with me? They look like Hiren Strong. And we get Hiren Strong, well, I won't spoil it, but Hiren Strong is Rhaenyra's new little boy toy. Everyone's got a boy toy. Isn't that great? It's nice when people have boy toys in this media, because Sir Kristen became a dick. I'm like, yeah, 10 years, he's still holding a grudge. I'm like, yeah, okay. I buy that completely. So yeah, there's a few things that happen in this episode, and these actors are doing a great job. I liked Olivia Cooke for a long time. She has the hard responsibility of playing like the eviler of two beings. I don't really think Alicent is like evil. She just wants to be safe, and it sucks because her whole arc is that she was stripped of her freedom at the same age that Rhaenyra got to keep hers. She had to become this royal person. She had to become a mother at such a young age, have that identity built for herself that way. And she hates that Rhaenyra is abusing her freedom, and that she can just get away with having specific types of kids and leaving whenever she wants and just doing whatever. It's like having her own life. That is what she's upset by, to the point where it looks like we're going to be starting a war. It's kind of cool. Also, David Tennant's kid is in it, playing a young man that releases his fluids out a window. Yeah, that famous window where Tommen jumps out and kills himself because his wife dies. Well, somebody's putting his stuff out the window too. House of Dragon's great, and I'm a little bit behind on Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power, but it's good too. I'm liking that. I don't know if I can believe that. I don't know if I